Welcome to Talking Buffalo, featuring conversations with guests from around the world of sports, media, pop culture, and all things Buffalo. With your host, Patrick Moran.
All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you, as always, for watching, for listening, following, for subscribing. The show is presented today by Imperial Pizza, 2 locations, one in South Buffalo, a new one on Main Street. Speaking of Imperial Pizza, tomorrow's show I recorded with Sarah Howland from Channel 4. That'll be dropping tomorrow, so make sure you check that out. As for today, if you're watching this anyway on the video side, we're actually live. I'm joined for the first time in a couple weeks here by my good old longtime buddy, Tone Pucks. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah?
Doing well. Yeah. I thought you'd have maybe more of a build-up to,
to you being bad.
What's been going on this month? You know what I mean?
I feel like we already talked about it on the porch, though, before the show. So I don't want to ask you the same thing twice. But anyway.
There's been a lot of football. Well,
go ahead.
There's been a lot of stuff. There's been a fair amount of sports stuff that we can choose to kind of go around the horn on if you'd like. You know what I mean? Caitlin Clark just, Stanley Cup Finals. We could do like a rapid fire kind of thing and do a little catching up on sports over the course of the last month. Or, I could tell you about the new truck I just bought. All right, which is probably 51 years, the best vehicle I've bought.
Yeah,
so far.
Is that what you
That's
just
exciting.
rolled up with?
It is what I just pulled
All
up
right,
with.
I didn't know that was you at first. You pulled it in the driveway.
I know. I was pimping it. Had some terrible Will Smith Summertime going as well. What else? I had an exceptional Father's Day. All right, so there's that. And I'm going through like kindergarten and third grade graduations and moving up ceremonies. I've had a busy month.
You have,
but I think
I didn't even think you were blowing me off for the last couple of weeks not being on the show. I knew you were busy. I know when you blow me off, and I know when you're genuinely busy.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're a little bit of a blow off, though. A little bit,
just a little bit of both. I didn't have much that was. Really pressing as far as, sports takes that I wanted to get out or anything like that. And then, when you had the complimentary Jeff Skinner tweet, I was like, yeah, that's, there's a little gloating to be done there, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really there. To me, it was always kind of obvious. I'm sitting here talking in a past tense, like I'm like the fact that it's leaked in the way that it has.
Mm-hmm.
All right, will have me thinking that way. It
sure.
just does.
Yeah.
Now the curveball is was that leaked for it to be a trade or something like that? Some sort of message to a trade partner right now that wants too much back for the salary, or wants to give up too little for the salary, however you want to put it. I just think the number one thing that's coming out of it is this dude's not going to practice one single practice under Lindy Ruff. He's not.
Well, that's going to kind of lead into one of the things we're doing today. So I want to get back to Skinner in a second. We're going to kind of debut a segment that I've been looking forward to doing with you on this show. I know you are. Some people who don't know you may not, but you like to throw down a buck or two on a game every now and then. And we're going to do this thing called Props with Pucks. I am going to throw out today a bunch of mostly Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres prop bets, some scenarios, and you're going to play Vegas. You're going to give me what the odds are. And I want to preface this by saying you have no idea what I'm going to throw at you right now. It's not like I gave you a list and you've had time to chew on them and come up with some betting odds. This is going to be real time in the moment. Mostly Bills, mostly Sabres. Lost the mic there for a quick second. Anyway, if you're a regular listener or viewer to the show, you know that for quite a while now, literally a couple months, you have been talking about Jeff Skinner should be gone. And a lot of credible, reputable hockey media people have said that shit is not going to happen this year. Lance Lazowski has said it. Mike Harrington has said it. Joe Yern and all these guys have felt that is not going to happen this year because he'd be getting paid for 6 years and still 2/3. I think it's 2/3 of his salary he'd still have left. But you kind of been beating that drum. So here's why I actually want to start off. I want to play a clip. And this is going all the way back to May 3rd. So this is 6.5, 7 weeks ago. You talking about Jeff Skinner, and despite, again, what other people were saying that he was going to be gone. So I want to play this clip, come back, and get your follow-up reaction from it. So here's that clip right here. Do you feel like Lindy Ruff will have a short leash with a player like Jeff? I got the wrong thing again. God damn, what's going on here? This is what happens when you're live. Do you feel like Lindy Ruff will have a short leash with a player like Jeff Skinner? And I would think that maybe that was at least a conversation.
You were done playing that clip. It would have been like 7 minutes real time before I even said a word. I would have never even made it through it.
You would have interrupted it. I don't know what's going on. That came up on the video, but not the audio.
Yeah, it's not even my best Skinner take. All right, the bigger Skinner take for me was just how, not valuable I find him to be in his role on the ice, things like that. Yeah, this one
just not being a fit.
I'm not even gonna, there's no victory laps when this one goes down. There are plenty of people out there, all right, who felt like it was a possibility, and the ones who pushed back on it a little bit, when you look at the credible names that pushed back on it, it's only because these are smart guys who know the cap ramifications, what they look like, more than the average fan. But when I got my, when I sunk my chops into what those cap ramifications were, all right, it was one tough year to work around. That's it. One tough year to work around. One dead $6 million year.
I think that's in year 3 of a buyout.
It is. Yeah. Now there's a 1 and a 2. These first 2 years won't mean shit. These first 2 years won't hurt at all. It's year 3 and year 4. It goes like 6 mil, 4 mil. And people don't want to be in a position to not be able to get that piece that puts them over the top because of that dead money. Makes sense, man. It makes plenty of sense. But when you know that, that you're working under that budget, all right, then you just find a way to make that money available that you need to make available, to push your roster over the top. My point being, if you know that that's your budget 2 years in advance, then you're going to be able to, to manage something to make that doable, more than just doable, but rather, no real disadvantage to putting out your best roster. I talked to, I threw a call in the GR this week. And I talked about a couple of scenarios.
Who was on the air? Who was it?
Chopin Bulldog. I do it so little now that I wouldn't feel right to go to anybody other than my guys for a long time there. Although I think I'm full of shit, because I think he did call Jeremy within like the past 2 or 3 months. It ain't nothing like it used to be, brother. Before podcasts, man, you heard my voice as much as anybody's in this fucking town. Unpaid, anyways. Yeah. But it was bridging a Quinn or a Peterka instead of maybe paying them the big contract. Using that example, knowing that you can't do Jokijaru or whatever, because by the time you get to year 3, it's going to be 6 mil or whatever for him. You can start making moves now to alleviate the stress of what you'd be dealing with 6 million debt against the cap in a few years. And the flip side of that is the product. The player ain't a fit anymore. All right.
If he's not a top 6 guy, he's definitely not.
And he's not a top 6 guy because the Sabres are going out and they are getting a top 6 guy. They're doing 2 things. And I've asked this. I threw something into a mailbag for the first time ever. I don't even remember who the fuck it was. I think it was Lazowski. But is the popular belief amongst, local, followers of the team and reporters on the team, is the belief that it's going to be both a top 6 winger and a number 3 center, or one or the other? Where is everybody right there? Forget about Skinner for a minute. Let's talk about the acquisition side. Okay. Is it going to be just a top 6 winger, just a number 3 center, or is it going to be both? My opinion is it's going to be both.
Really?
Going to be both.
Well, let's just break down quickly here. And then I want to get into some prop bets, props with pucks. But all right, so top 6. All right, well, you're locked in with Tage, Tuck, Peterka, Cousins. That's 4.
And I think
Quinn is 5.
Unless you go out there and make a massive splash, okay? You make a massive splash, and that person's meant to go with Cousins. And maybe a Benson is a better fit there. I'm not saying a better prospect or player or top 6 guy than Quinn, but maybe that middle 6 has some, has some variables if you go out and sign a stud. I don't think it's going to be a stud. All right. I think it's going to be a vet. I think the veteran's going to be the third center. But I don't think it's going to be a stud on the wing, but I do think it's going to be the guy, all right, that is thought to be playing with Cousins and Quinn, right? Okay. And then you're getting the 3C no matter what, bro. All right. I mean,
I feel like they have to.
You're getting the 3C no matter what. But what are you hearing everywhere you turn? Sabres are adding a top 6 winger. Sabres are adding a top 6 winger. So looking at the roster and just being able to, the predictability of the need at third center.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you put that with the buzz that everybody has that they're going to get in a top 6 winger. How can you come to any other conclusion? How can you come to any other conclusion other than this team is adding a top 6 winger and the number 3 center, who may very well be, all right, the most important player on that line. All right, because he might be centering, for like Benson and that number 9 could be that number 9 player could be an ad as well. That could be an ad as well.
Sure. Well, put it this way: if they do buy out Jeff Skinner, I think it's going to make what should be a relatively eventful summer for the Sabres to begin with is certainly going to make it even more interesting. And I think we'll find out relatively soon, maybe by next week. In fact, I would say by next week if they're going to be buying out Jeff Skinner. And I think we'll know relatively early. And on that note, I kind of want to get into these prop bets, and we'll start with, well, in a way it's rhetorical, but not really, because again, you are playing Vegas right now. You are throwing out the betting odds, and we'll start with the first one. Jeff Skinner gets bought out. What, you're Vegas here. What are the odds?
Right now with the news coming out that came out, because that also drives this whole thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how you want to put the bet exactly out there, but will Jeff Skinner be bought out? Yes, right now is like fucking minus 350.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's like minus 350 to a no of maybe I don't know what would balance that, maybe plus 275. So if you don't think if you want to stand on that, well, hold on. I can't. I should have caught this sooner. We can't just do the buyout. It has to be, will Jeff Skinner play another game
Okay,
as a
we'll
Buffalo
change it.
Sabre
We'll
or
change it. We're
some- or
experimenting here this
something
week.
like that. It can't be the buyout
All right.
because the trade is a reality as well.
Let's start it over.
All
Then.
right.
All right, Jeff
The
Skinner.
trade is
Jeff,
the same. Well, my answer remains the same. All right, Jeff Skinner to be a Sabre,
-3.
to be moved. All right, prior to the very first practice of the season. All right, Jeff Skinner to no longer be a Sabre, -350.
-350.
Yep,
that sounds right. Okay. Let's switch sports. And I kind of got these randoms. I'm going to go back and forth between the two teams and a couple other things.
Random.
Yeah. Let's go. Buffalo Bills rookie safety Cole Bishop will be your week 1 starting safety, which obviously would mean that he beats out Taylor Rapp at training camp in the preseason. Week 1 depth chart. Cole Bishop is your starting safety.
Okay. I am not going to take the show off the rails, but I am going to hit a pause on the show right now because I would have forgotten this otherwise. Bro, I'm leaving a pool today, right? Brought the kids to like a couple different pools today because they were off. Leaving a pool today, and a legitimate looking, youngest father. I hear him go to his buddy. Bill's just re-signed Hyde. And he looked fucking normal. He didn't look like a mafia moron who follows all the dumb shit. All right, and can get sucked in real easy.
Right.
I mean, my phone was in the car. All right, so I'm walking from the pool to the car. It's while I'm leaving. For about 90 good seconds.
You thought Micah was a Bill?
Until I got back on Twitter and saw that there was nothing there yet. And I knew it was a dud. Yeah, I thought Mike was back, and I immediately started to think about the safety position. And it wouldn't astonish me. Like, I was able to get to a place where I was like, all right, let's
switch gears. Micah Hyde plays for the Buffalo Bills this year. Let's lay some odds on that.
Oh, you're betting comparable Jeff Skinner odds there. I think Micah, they've done a lot of work at the position, man. They've done a lot of work at the position. You're gonna like a +250.
+250.
That Micah plays for the Bills. But going back to your guy, that's a big
Cole Bishop.
Yeah, that's a big bet, with Rapp and Edwards. I think it's going to stay interchangeable, all right, for at least the first quarter of the season. He gets eased in, all right? He gets eased in as, a Saran Neal type sick. I think they want to take a little bit off their linebackers this year. I think we're going to see more dime, with Bishop. And, they've got guys with decent size that can come down in that 6 DB role. So I think it's going to stay very interchangeable for the first quarter of the season. And I don't think it'll play out in the first 4 weeks to where, oh man, Cole Bishop came in and grabbed one of the starting safety jobs. I think it's going to be.
You think he's going to play?
I think he's going to play.
All right,
but
so
I think you can have it's if you want to call it a firm, he's like named a starter or something like that. Yeah, it's like a +350 kind of thing.
+350.
Okay. It's probably the other way.
Shout out, by the way, a guy, my buddy AJ, +140 he's got with that. Tone's got a little more significant odds, although you are right.
Plus,
look, safety position
depends on who he's gonna get used just a ton. But I think when they come out, if they were to start the season in a 2 safety look, all right. Yeah, I believe it's Edwards and Rapp. I believe it's Edwards and Rapp.
Forgive a better compare or not having a better comparison here, but the New York Knicks are stuck in my mind for some reason. And I'm thinking those New York Knicks teams that were good in the 90s, Anthony Mason wasn't a starter, but he played most of the time. Can you kind of see a situation like maybe Cole Bishop is not your starter week 1, like he's not out there on the first snap, but that doesn't mean he doesn't play a lot.
Yeah, man.
Kind of like that kind of deal. Like you kind of alluded to that.
definitely. Definitely. There's going to be a different sort of feel on defense this year. I think we're going to see Bernard and Milano get breaks. I think we're going to see them get breaks, and I think it's going to be some safeties and some corners that start to come down. I mean, fuck. What do you do if Elam's training camp grades carry over to when the bullets start flying for real? What are you going to do with that?
Right.
I'm not saying that you got to, as a boundary corner, it doesn't really help make the point. This point's really about safety, slot guys, things like that, guys who come down in the box, and they appear to have a good combination there in a guy who's seen a lot of football, in that role in Rat, and a guy who is, a pretty damn good prospect in Bishop. It works, man. It works for me a lot, but the betting odds would be significant for him, to just go in, grab a job, and be one of two to open up the year. Guy Edwards, anyone can get hurt. All right.
Oh yeah.
Anyone can get hurt.
If Edwards gets hurt, Micah Hyde's playing.
Basically, a starter prop is bullshit. A starting safety, bet is bullshit. So I don't have a chance with this one.
And by the way,
but he's gonna have a significant role, and he's gonna be a lot of fun. Like a lot of fun. Like if the point was to talk about Cole Bishop, like it is definitely someone to be excited about.
And by the way,
the fuck you scrolling over there, man? Paying no mind.
I got something. AJ, by the way, the 140 he said was for Skinner, and the 250 was for so it was more in line with what you said.
Got you.
With all right, so the next one here. Dalton Kincaid leads the Buffalo Bills in wide receiving yards this season.
Receiving yards.
Yeah.
Just receiving yards.
Yeah, not receptions, receiving
not
yards.
Wide. You said wide receiving yards.
Oh, whatever, dude.
Well, it's kind of weird.
Fair. Leads the team in receiving yards.
Yeah, those odds will be stacked.
My goal is to make you think on these.
Yeah, those odds will be stacked against him. All right. Because of it's just the yards part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Bill's receptions, you would have more close to even odds.
Yes,
for sure. All right, but it's not. It's receiving yards.
So you might have to, you might get yourself $1 plus $1.75 if you wanted to bet that. They're not going to give you a big a big push there. Right. They might get $1.75, maybe plus 225, but my guess would be the odds makers know, all right, that Dalton Kincaid is going to be a real fucking force in that in that offense.
Sure.
So you're going to get, no one's going to jump out at you. All right. And say, ooh, that's a good bet. Maybe MVS would jump out at you like plus 3.25. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. Well, how about he just goes off? You might even be able to get better than plus 3.25 on MVS leading the team in receiving yards. But dude, if and I'm sure they're out there. They're out there. We're just not allowed to do it in New York State. So what is actually probably realistic odds that are out there, we're just choosing to guess at. But I'll bet you.
Well, that makes it more fun, though.
Of course. But I'll bet you the odds on leading Bills in receiving yards is very fucking even.
Who do you think is favored? If it's not Kincaid, would you say it's Shakir? And again, I don't know. We could find this out, and I have chosen not to do it. But God, there's no clear cut. This is the Stephon Diggs effect.
I'm ready
right
to.
Now,
what? I didn't really have this intention coming in to do this, but this has hit me a couple times. It started with that's what it was. I kind of wanted to call Jeremy one day. But they were talking about the ads. All right, the ads to the wide receiver room, and just how significant they are. And everybody, when we talk about the step, right? We talk about the next big step. Everybody goes Kincaid. Dude, I think Khalil Shakir might blow the fuck up.
Me too.
All right.
Me too.
I think Khalil Shakir might blow up and just be the guy.
I thought he might be Cole Beasley, best case scenario, about a year or so ago on the football field, not off the field.
You're a fucking homophobe, by the way. Just would like to drop that out there on Cole Beasley.
Yeah,
fucking jerk off.
For sure. On the field, I thought about a year ago, he's Cole Beasley.
Audience.
Now I think that's almost underselling Khalil Shakir because I think he'd be a lot more than that. He's a reliable guy, good route runner, good hands, but he can make big plays.
Speed? How about the explosivity?
That's what I'm talking about.
People are wondering where, they look to Samuel and Coleman, and again, they want to see what the addition in explosive plays are from them. The addition of more balls to Khalil Shakir, I think, is one that's going to drive explosive plays as well. And he's done it over the top. He's done it on yards after catch. He's made stupid ass end zone sideline double coverage, incredible pass. But how about the type catches? I mean, this kid should, if he's a 1, okay, let's say he's not a first overall, but let's say he's a first round pick, and maybe he just has last year as his rookie year.
Yeah.
All right. He is getting all the love.
Sure.
All the love. And we ain't maybe doing that because, he had that kind of red shirt year. He squandered an early opportunity last year with some drops. And
he's a fifth rounder.
Right. Thank you. I was about to go on without that part. But if you just take the trajectory of his play, all right, it sure looks like that trajectory might be pointing insanely up for this franchise.
I see kind of like a realistic Tyler Lockett kind of player. You know what I mean? For Seattle, a really, really good receiver. I could see that coming to fruition with Cole Bishop. 1 or 2 more, I want to get to a break. We'll go back to the Sabres here. The Buffalo Sabres will make their pick with the 11th overall selection in the draft. So that would mean, obviously, no trade on draft day, no trade in that pick for a player. The Sabres are on the clock, and they make their selection 11th overall during the draft, which I believe is next week.
In the case of so many NHL teams, this is, this heavily favors the pick. All right. Like making the pick for, and I'm not just talking about the team with the first overall pick that's going to pick a stud or even the first 5.
Sure.
All right. They don't move around a lot in the first round in hockey, to the best of my knowledge. It's, but in the case of the Sabres with the buzz, you are probably closer to an even money bet. Now, when I say an even money bet, I of course mean minus 110.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean
yeah.
The juice. But you probably are closer to even money on that bet than you are any of the other 30, 31. I don't know. When's Utah playing? All right. Is this 2 years from now, or are they in the mix now? I don't hear anybody talking about an expansion draft coming up, so they must be like fucking 2 years away, right?
I don't even know, man.
Of course you don't, because you're a cocky hack.
I kind of am. That's all right, though.
All
right, so you're saying minus 110 if the Sabres end up staying on the clock.
It's still a mine. No, you're not going to get even money on that. It's still like minus 150.
150. All right. Here's one submitted by AJ. By the way, shout out Batavia News right here, right now, podcast, AJ and Alex Brasky. Anyway, Vaughn Miller, actually, I want to go to AJ's. He says odds that a Buffalo Bill finishes with 10 plus sacks this season. So any Buffalo Bill hits double-digit sacks. Last year was Leonard Floyd, 10.5. What are the betting odds as somebody hits double digits this year.
It's so lame because I did the same thing with Skinner, and I had the Skinner odds in my head when we did it. And I feel like I'm about to do the same thing, but I think it's probably pretty close to even money. We know it's going to be spread out. We know it's going to be spread out. So you ask yourself, like, who are the guys that could do it? Is AJ Epinesa going to make like the 6.5 to the 10 plus?
Right.
Jump?
Big leap.
Russo, he as good as he's been, it doesn't seem to, it seems to be like he's settling in a little bit to who he is. But man, you know what? Hey, if Greg Rousseau's out there just decided this offseason that he's going to become a better pass rusher this year, I think he may be as possible of doing it as anybody.
I think so too.
The one I don't think is favorable right now is Vaughn. I think the even money line on Vaughn is probably about 6.5, 7.5.
I had him at 7.5. Back up there on my notes. That's what it was going to be. Von Miller's 7.5 sacks. So that would be even money then to you.
Yeah. Sorry for the boring response on that. And I'd love to find something from AJ within the past maybe 2 hours of me coming here that I was like, man, that's like fucking informational right there. It was real brief too. It was real short. But yeah, I'm around even money on a Bill getting 10.5. I didn't talk about the inside. Maybe Oliver could do it.
Yeah,
maybe Oliver. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna ponder Epinesa, then I'm going to at least ponder Oliver.
Sean don't play guys more than 55% of the snaps too, so that's kind of a detriment to individual statistical achievements. Yeah, I think if anyone would do it, it would be Greg Rousseau. One more, and then we'll take a quick break here.
Is that like a real break that I can go to the fridge and get a beer? Or
no, not really. You can.
I could probably still do it though, right?
Yeah, you probably can. I could go on like a 10-second solo diatribe or something. But before that, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for AJ's tweet from earlier that I really liked.
Oh, okay. Well, while you're looking for that, I'll pull up the next. I'll pull up the next topic here. Peyton Krebs gets traded.
I thought I was out.
No, Peyton Krebs gets traded. When we go to break, and for like 3 seconds on the video side, you can go grab your brewski. But yeah, all right. So Peyton Krebs is getting traded this summer.
The answer, I have a take on this. I love my take on this. The answer to this player, all right, and who's going to be driving whether or not this player has value, all right, and what that value is, I'm telling you, man, it's Seth Appert. Okay, Seth Appert is because Krebs spent a lot of time down there, had a lot of success down there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's kind of refining his role. He's not gonna, They say those assistant coaches are huge in that regard, and Appert and Krebs, that connection, I think is going to be huge. I think if Krebs does get traded, it's Appert kind of signing off on it, saying, yeah, he's just in between a 3 and a 4, and we need to go get a defined 3 and a 4. All right, something like that. The big voice in the room on Peyton Krebs is Seth Appert, and that is 100% correct.
I like the take. What are the odds here? You got to set some odds. People want to go and make this
still being moved is the same as somebody holding on to a draft. You know what I mean? Less people are traded than not traded. You know what I mean? More teams stay put than trade out. So you're still going to have to, depending upon if you want, to take the plus money, to be traded, you're gonna score yourself plus 225.
225.
You're gonna score yourself plus 225 on a Peyton Krebs trade.
All right. Well, I'll take a real quick break. Come back on the other side. More prop bets here. Bills, Sabres, and other stuff with our guy Tone Pucks. All right, I'm back with an empty chair Tone Bucks, who had to go to run to the fridge to fill up. We are going through some Bills Sabres and soon enough some other prop bets. I like that set that.
I'd like to say I'm enjoying prop bets.
Yeah, I
I'm enjoying
a
prop
little bit
bets.
of gambling here, a little bit of
We don't have a lot of we did not
out.
have a lot of early flow. All right, because I had like stories and shit that I could have.
And I jumped right into the show.
We didn't have a lot of early flow, but I'm not hating prop bets.
All right, that's good to know. All right, so
I'm still taking the next month off after this because and I appreciate. I wanted to say this actually. This was kind of in my head as a banter. I do appreciate, all right, how you are as a boss. I needed those 4 weeks off. I needed to recharge the batteries a little bit. All right.
It's a tough ass to get you to come here every week. It's not like you're around the corner. First of all, it'd be tough if you were around the corner. And secondly, you are a good half hour or so away in Kenmore.
You really got to get to my house, though.
Yeah. By the way,
give me the fucking thing.
Good takes, knowledgeable, smart, middle-aged man you are who can't fucking figure out how to plug a USB
my dating profile right now.
You got a USB mic and earbuds, and you can't figure out how to be able to hook up remotely so we could do shows that way, so you don't have to get in your new car.
Maybe I can find the motivation to do that one day.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
you were complimenting my Apper take.
It was a good take. I like that. I think that
I just think he's going to be a real important player in the that was finger quotes, like not actual player. I just think he's going to be a real important coach.
Sometimes it's not just the owner, the GM.
In Peyton Krebs' development this year.
Not just a head coach,
and whether or not he stays.
With the Bills, I think Aaron Cromer had a very big voice in being able to say who was going to stay for the offensive line, and he's signing off on a Ryan Bates trade, stuff like that. So I could totally see that with assistant coaches. All right, let's go back to the Buffalo Bills, and we're going to put a prop bet on odds that Chase Claypool is on the active Bills roster, the 53-man roster, week 1. Who the hell are they playing against week 1? Arizona at home. So the Bills, Sunday morning, week 1, Arizona. Don't know if he's active for that day, but Chase Claypool's on the 53-man roster. Give me some odds.
Plus 130.
Ooh, really? I would have it much higher. I would bet against that in a second.
To me, it's like a Wednesday afternoon, coin flip baseball game. Really? Minus 150 or plus 130, whichever way you want to play it. Look, the Bills put out I think that may have been what it was. That may have been what AJ reposted was the Bills putting out a wide receiver room hype video. All right, five guys clearly in the video, and I think AJ jumped on that like real fucking quick. And I was like, see, that's a good jump on right there, man. I'm 100% sure that was it. But did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Because it had 5 dudes, and Chase Claypool wasn't one of them. All right, hence he's plus 130.
All right, well, let's break that down for just a quick second here. I buy into. I don't know why. As I'm saying it, I'm like, come on, am I really about to say this? I buy into the hype of people saying that he seems recommitted and looked good in shorts in shorts and
which there'll also be in. All right, for the first week plus of camp, there's going to be a lot of shorts. All right, I'm not sure how much different. All right, these OTAs are than
the first handful of days. Well, the first handful of days for sure. Yeah, look, he'll be probably a training camp darling. Well, look at it this way, and I agree with you. Look, the first 4 have been locked in. I think MVS is a lock to be that.
That's the one that I think took people by surprise. I think when the MVS signing was made, all right, I don't think anybody looked at it, even on the money side to some point. It wasn't even like people looked at that one defensive end is it Smoot from Jacksonville? Yeah. All right, people looked at that. They looked at the money and said, oh, man, this was making the roster. I don't think the money made people do that with MVS. You know what I mean? And because of that, I don't think people were throwing him right in and as a for sure thing. Maybe people just didn't want to do that because they were on the MVS doo-doo train, and they wanted to kind of die on that vine a little bit, but the way the Bills are putting him out there, and some of the stories, from his visit here and stuff like that, they certainly, and today's hype video, shit, he's on this team. Like, if I'm gonna play, here's the perfect scenario to tell you. If I'm going to play a Bills Madden game right now, because there are motherfuckers out there, all right, who actually keep these rosters updated daily. You don't get it from EA or nothing like that,
right?
But there are people out there that you can download a roster from, all right, that keep that shit signed up to the free agency. And if I'm going to play with what will be the 2024-25 Buffalo Bills, all right, MVS is going to be on an outside receiver of mine. Because A, I think he helps me in the game, but B, I think he's realistically going to be on this team. I wouldn't put somebody out there, all right, that maybe was a 85 rating last year, but they're just, you know what I mean? They're toast this year. All right, but I'm gonna ride that 85 rating. I wouldn't do that. I do it with MVS, who's actually only like a 77 rating in Madden.
Is he for real?
I think he's going to be on this football team. I think a lot of people are starting to feel that way.
Let me interrupt prop bets for a bold prediction. Ready for this one?
Sure.
MVS is going to have more receiving yards this year than Keon Coleman.
I could dig that.
Yeah. I think he's going to.
Would it shock you if Coleman really struggles once things start going for real?
No, and I won't be down on him either. I mean, he'll be a little bit disappointing, but I'm not going to write him off. I think it might take him a little bit of time to adjust to the NFL. And I don't think the Bills are expecting nor necessarily need him to be a week 1, 6-7 catch, 80 to 90 yard per game type receiver very early in his career. I think his ceiling is perfectly fine. He's a really good potentially, I think, like number 2. But I think MVS is going to have a role in this football team. And I think Keon Coleman's going to be brought along slowly. That's not me having an indictment at all against Keon Coleman. I just think MVS is going to have a role in this football team relatively early. I think he's going to be Gabe Davis. I do. Drops and everything.
But
shitty route running, but
a little bit different. Like,
little.
Gabe's sync with Josh on the on the scramble and stuff like that. Gabe Davis made some huge catches on broken down plays for this team in his 4 years. And I don't think that MVS is, no matter how many, enjoyable dinners they may have together, whatever. I don't think MVS is going to build that sort of instinctiveness with Josh that Gabe had. I think for MVS, it's going to have to be,
I was just talking about the same kind
pretty much off the play sheet. But yes, I get
same
what you're
box
saying.
score type thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Nothing. 3 for a buck. 30.
I don't know that Gabe was known to be a blocker too. So
Gabe's a great blocker for sure. Back to Claypool real quick before we move on. So you had him at plus 130. I'll say this. So the top 5 are locked, barring injury. Wide receiver 6. It's Claypool. It's Justin Shorter, their 5th runner from a year ago. I don't buy Hamler or Isabella. They're just, maybe if they keep 7.
Isabella's been in the fold long enough that they know what they got and they know what the ceiling is.
Yep.
Hamler is not. All right. Hamler's a guy that can go grab it from Shorter.
I think you need to get to 7 receivers for Hamler.
Hamler's a guy.
Maybe not.
If Claypool takes his foot off the gas, and they want that guy to be a veteran of sorts, Hamler has some pedigree. Isabella does not.
I'll tell you what bodes well for Chase Claypool, maybe being that wide receiver 6, is Keon Coleman ain't playing special teams. MVS has never played special teams. Whoever that wide receiver 6 is better play special teams. And Chase Claypool can play special teams. Justin Shorter can play special teams. Hamler's a returner. So if they have him in mind to return kicks, maybe, but otherwise, I don't see it. But anyway, so plus 130, actually, now that I think about it.
Where'd you get that little Jesus figurine from, man?
I had a party every time. So I
want that so bad.
I had buddies over last week for poker. I'll put up on the screen there, this little miniature Jesus thing. They're all over my house. Harry and Jocelyn and Harry come into my office and they hide these. They put them in the shower. They put them all over. They had them over the house. So every time because I end up drinking and forgetting that they're going to do this shit. So they end up coming to my house and they spread this shit all over my house. They got
That's fantastic.
Cookie Monster too. I said they had a bunch of Cookie Monsters and put them all over the house. Anyway, all right. Kind of a straightforward. And this is one that's probably going to be talked about a ton. In fact, it already is being talked about a ton. But Josh Allen is your NFL MVP this year.
Oh man, well, you want to talk about a bet that's certainly out there.
Oh, this is one that's out there. This is not
sure this is one. Josh, fuck, I mean, people know that he's, people might be down on him and stuff like that.
While you talk, I'm actually going to look it up because there is an actual.
But people know that he's capable of being that. He's probably in the top 3 to 5.
Mm-hmm. I found it. I found the real odds. You tell me.
I don't know. Well, I turned away and hence turned away from the mic. I just got to come up with an answer. Plus 800.
All right, you're close. In reality, right now in Vegas, he's plus 900. Okay. So he's 9-1 right now in Vegas to win MVP. Well, I think he was either second or third. I didn't look to see if he was second or third. I just looked at the odds. I know Mahomes is obviously the favorite, but yeah. So 900 or plus 900 to win MVP. Jump back to the Sabres. We talked about Peyton Krebs getting traded. Let's go with one other guy. Henri Jokijaru gets traded this summer. Restricted free agent too.
You're gonna get worse or better. It's more likely to happen than the Krebs trade. All right. The only thing that goes against the Jokijaru trade scenario is the right-handed defenseman. I get hung up on that sometimes only because it's my second video game reference in about 2 minutes. That's the way I do it on video. People talk about right-handed defensemen being important. You know what I mean? And all I hear about are ones that we want to move on from. I think Clifton might be a righty as well. And I've heard people talk about Clifton in potential buyout scenarios. So it's unless it really helps get them over the top in a trade. I know they're afraid. They're going to be afraid of arbitration. But you can't go too big. You can't go too big with it. It's more likely to happen with Krebs, but you're only getting that at plus 150.
Plus 150. Okay.
You know what I mean? Maybe plus 150 that he's moved on, and you'd have to eat probably minus 225 that he remains a Sabre. All right. In which case I'd probably take the plus action there. I'd probably be all right, 50 to win, 75 that he moves on. I'll do that. But again, it's when it comes.
And you said less likely for him to get traded than Peyton Krebs.
I'd say more likely.
More likely for
Jokijaru to be on the move than Krebs.
Yeah, restricted free agent. I don't want to say they're stacked there. I mean, they got 5 guys.
It's the uncertainty of the contract.
Sure,
in large part, it's the uncertainty of the contract. I think an important defensive piece will move. I do.
What about Ryan Johnson? Maybe.
No, he's not going anywhere.
You mean this right-left thing? I mean, he's kind of buried.
Unless he is part of the. They went and got a stud top 6. Remember, that scenario I talked about earlier in the podcast with, how that line will get filled in with Cousins and Quinn, unless they have to go give up a Ryan Johnson, all right, to make something happen with an absolute stud. Say it's, and I don't know that this guy to be a stud. All right, I'm throwing a name out there that I heard smarter people talk about, but the Blues don't do Buchnevich without Ryan Johnson. Okay, we got to do what we got to do,
right?
Something like that.
Okay.
Otherwise, though, man, way too much promise, way too much control. You got a guy, all right, who's pretty close to ready, that is just at the beginning of your control. You don't have to sit there and burn 2 years of this. I could be wrong. He might have been a college signee and they don't have like a plethora, as El Guapo would say, of
time years
time
remaining.
left. Yeah. But it's still, though, he jumped out of the arena last year at these guys. You just,
I get it. Yeah, we'll see.
He's got to stay.
Yeah.
He's got to stay.
You mentioned
he's got to stay and cook and probably see plenty of time this year. It's Samuelson. It's Samuelson, Clifton, and Jokijaru, man. I don't think any of them are guaranteed.
I'm Samuelson with that long ass 15-year contract that he's got right now with the Sabres.
Look, yeah, he's probably the least likely of all of them.
Sure. But it is a pretty cheap contract.
I've heard people talk. I've heard people say that teams want Samuelson in the sense that if the Sabres want their guy, that's what they're going to have to give up.
If you're another team and you consider him a legitimate, solid, like second line defenseman, a top 4 defenseman, he's got a pretty relatively team friendly cap number.
If you believe he's worth the 4.
Sure.
If you believe he's
all right, next
4.
one. You mentioned arbitration, so let's kind of go there because another guy potentially right now is UPL. UPL signs a multi-year deal. That's the scenario. Give me the odds. He signs a multi-year deal.
Well, multi is always going to be the betting favorite. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean. Not a lot of teams want to do one. Not a lot of you know what I mean. When you're talking about young, talented guys, multi is going to be the favorite. But as with almost like the Sabres trading the pick, there's a lot of reasons to believe that this could land on one in arbitration. And I think I'm more favorable to that than most. I think most people are like, just sign your goalie. All right. Let Levi, let him maybe cook a little bit or maybe come up. But what UPL showed you, you can't let this guy out of for nothing. Like you did Allmark. You can't fucking blow it with UPL like you did Allmark. That's how I want to put that. But dude, I would use the arbitration to my advantage in this particular case.
What are the odds? And I said the odds are that he signs a multi-year deal. So what do you
signs a multi-year deal? So they're still minus odds. You're still gonna have to lay more. All right, because multi-year is the favorite.
Sure.
Minus 140.
Minus 140. All right. Let's do a non-Bills or Sabres one right now. Aaron Rodgers plays at least 16 games this year for the Jets. I'll give him 1 game miss because of a nagging injury. He doesn't play the last
huge,
week,
bro. 16's huge. It's
16
16's huge. You're gonna score yourself. You're gonna score yourself plus fucking 4.25.
4.25.
All right, for that Aaron Rodgers
to play at least 16 games. 4.25.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on him. I would not bet on him playing 16 games this year. I'd tell you, I don't care what the odds are this year. I don't like that. I don't think he finishes the season with the Jets. All right. Well, as we record this right now, we're 75 games in. The New York Yankees are. They lead the AL East by 2.5 games. They end up winning the division. So what are the odds right now that the Yankees end the season winning the AL East?
I mean, geez, I was just looking to bet one or the other of these the other day, so I know like exactly what it is.
Really?
Yeah, no, I mean they're the favorite right now. They're the Yankees, so they're a heavier favorite. Like they're sitting there a solid like minus 125 or maybe minus 140, something like that, because they've got the 2-game lead and they got their ace coming back tonight, which I don't know. It's just you're having this better fantasy baseball year, but just your fucking commitment to the craft is still lax for me.
does.
Your commitment to the sport. I mean, just the hype train that should be a Yankee fan with Garrett Cole coming back tonight is like non-existent. All right, because
let me say something though in my defense, and you're right about my baseball commitment. There's no questioning that. But even going back 5 years ago when I was all in on fantasy baseball, I kind of lost a chunk of my Yankee fandom because of fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
And that's not a complaint. I just started following players on my
Right.
team and teams around the league. I started rooting for players.
You ain't got either right now. You're right. You know what I mean?
My team's all right this year.
No. I'm just saying you don't have the Yankees or the real passion. All right, on the player side, like who's running your shit this year? Like who's driving your
Bobby
team?
Witt?
Oh my God,
yeah,
there it is. Where'd you grab him? Where'd you grab him?
Fourth overall pick.
All right,
yeah.
All right.
I can't remember. Somebody took someone else third, and I was stunned.
He's so good, dude. He's so good. Well, what was the question? Yankees to win it. They're literally. 125. I love the conversation that surrounds the Orioles, and I certainly screwed up based upon my opinion of the conversation. Like I thought a lot of kids were ready to jump up in the first quarter of the season, dude. I thought Jackson Holiday would be that first call up and never go back. I didn't see Jackson Holiday doing what he did in his first trip to the majors in a million years, man. And that is true of several of their kids. I gotta believe that they know either from using the kids, all right, to get pieces, or if they start hitting, you know what I mean? If they start coming up in the second half, if Holiday gets up, although I'm worried about his shoulder. There's other guys as well. Hauser's another one. If those kids start playing and can join the fray, I think the Yanks are toast. I think it's Baltimore's all day. But if those kids don't take the step, well, then the Orioles are going to have to decide at the deadline whether or not one might be worth, chasing the title, because, when you go out there and you get Corbin Burns and you've got that ace, you gotta go all in.
I forgot he was on.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Oh, what a pathetic moment right there. And I didn't even throw him out there because I, thought it was the case. But as soon as I saw your look,
like, oh shit!
As soon as I saw your look freeze, I was like, oh, he forgot all about Corbin Burns being on Baltimore.
I like the Yankees.
I would still put my money on the Orioles because they're the plus money, and because despite Cole coming back, that shit's gonna be huge, man. It's gonna be huge if he's healthy, if he didn't avoid surgery that was going to be inevitable. But even with Cole, there's so many pieces in Baltimore that they can't mismanage them to not go for it once things get a little closer to the trade line. That would be extremely negligent with a Corbin Burns kind of move.
The Yankees I think the Yankees are a good team. The problem with the Yankees is that they always get hurt, and that's Judge is banged up now. I don't know what the extent is. And
if they just dodged. Did you see how nervous Yankee fans were when certain verbiage started being used about Soto? Everyone was like, "This is exactly how they sounded when it was with Dominguez last year."
Yeah, and who got hurt again, by the way, Dominguez.
Oh,
so
I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm NAing him to death in another pool. All right, I got him on my minors roster in another pool, and I'm losing patience.
Let me flip to one more Bills one real quick here.
We about out.
Damar Hamlin makes the 53-man roster.
Ooh.
This is
plus 275. Damar's time in Buffalo is done, and I think
so.
I think
Barn injury.
anybody setting a a line on this would probably go that way.
I agree with you. Short and sweet with this one.
275 is too high. 225 maybe up to 225.
Well, short and sweet. I think at the free safety position, first of all, they brought Cam Lewis back. And if something were to happen to Mike Edwards, you're like, well, bar an injury. Well, I continue to think if something happens to Edwards, Micah Hyde's going to end up back there anyway. So, yeah, I agree. I would be willing to bet that Damar Hamlin.
That's a great conversation, though.
About what?
The Micah Hyde coming back when needed, as needed, if needed.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to play out.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I can dig that. I can dig that all day.
He might be this year. He might be this year's Linval Joseph. Like, he might sit around until the midway point of the season.
Useless, man. That dude ended up mostly useless. I mean, there was a game or two where he stuffed the run that might have mattered.
He didn't do shit. All right, couple more here. LeBron plays an NBA regular season game with his son, Bronny, this coming season. This coming season, he plays an NBA game with his son. Same team, obviously. Whether it's the Lakers or he goes somewhere else.
I know. This whole story is kind of weird. But when you are LeBron James, you do a little nepotism. You know, no one's a stranger to a little nepotism. When you're LeBron James, you're the boss everywhere you go.
Sure.
It's nepotism, and it's fine. That shit's pretty close to even, bro. That's it. I mean, someone out there might want to screw it over, and the kid. Actually, what should happen is the kid belongs in school.
Back in school another year. Yeah, agreed.
And something could happen.
He might not even get drafted.
But, well, I guess the number is 55. The Lakers have a 55th overall that everyone's like, that's the Bronny pick right there. Yeah. It's pretty close to even money, man. Maybe you could get it plus 1.25 or something like that. Maybe you can get it on the plus side, but there's a shitload of momentum going towards those two being on a basketball court this year.
Stephon Diggs catches a minimum of 75 passes with the Houston Texans this year. By the way, credit to me for coming up with some really, really good topics here.
Well, here's the thing, though. The more believable they are, the more debatable they are, the closer they are to the median.
Being even. That's fair. Or you're not going to come up with ridiculous ones?
I don't, because there have been a few where I've been able to go out there and go out on a limb with some of them. This one, though, is pretty close to even, man. I think when you looked at this one, you were like, okay, I'm kind of shooting for the number, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of shooting for the number. Yeah. 75 is the number.
Okay.
75 should be the number.
All right. Let's go here. If Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard had a rematch, Sugar Ray Leonard would have won again. And I say that because I remember the moment when we all watched that fight together.
We watched that fight together several times.
And it was a lot of debate. A lot of people. It was kind of like down the middle.
I may still own that VHS tape, bro. No lie. I may still own that VHS tape. It was a Bills playoff win against the Oilers from like 88. All right. On the front end, on the first 3 hours. And it was the late Leonard Hagler on the back view.
That was a fun fight. I was a big Sugar Ray Leonard fan. I did not expect him to win the fight. He won the fight. I had him winning the fight, maybe a little bit of bias. I don't know. I remember Mike Balsano.
I could never get to a place.
Hagler won.
I coid never get to a place where I didn't have Leonard. We scored it the same.
Yeah.
We were super close, man.
Yeah, we were.
And I always had Leonard.
Yeah. All right. Well,
they had Leonard.
They had a rematch. What would the odds be?
Hagler's the favorite, minus 150. Where Ray's maybe plus 125.
Even after winning the first time? Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Even after winning the first time.
I'd be betting Sugar Ray then. All right. Couple more. I got to laugh at this one. I'm going to one concert this summer. All right. New Kids on the Block with Paula Abdul and DJ Jazzy Jeff. It is Thursday, August 22nd at Darien Lake. It's the only concert as of now that I have tickets to that I plan on going to this summer. What are the odds that it rains that night at Darien Lake when I'm there?
Well, I will be rooting for it. I'll try to remember.
I know you'll be
and
rooting
for it. It also can be kind of fun, unless you're like, just being like kind of a bore about it, and rain like bothers you.
If I had free
you can get
tickets,
sloppy drunk and fucking like enjoy the shit out of the rain. You know what I mean? But the chances of it raining are probably about 35%.
35%?
25 to 35.
Okay. If I were to give you a free ticket for that, would you be interested in going? If I said, "Hey, Tone, you want to go see New Kids on the Block with Paul Abdul, DJ?" Are you in for something like that?
I would 100% say yes, but I am fairly confident because I just went over these dates in the last 48 hours. Fairly confident I'll just be coming back from Cape Cod on that day.
Oh, really? Well, you're going. I didn't even know you were going to Cape Cod.
Yeah, man. Sherry, huge. We joke. This is back when we were happy before kids, but before the kids came along, early on in the dating thing, we hit up Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard, and it was like we felt like we were in a movie on the vineyard. It's our favorite place in the world, because we're libtards. Because we're like, Martha's Vineyard is hardcore lib territory. But just the views and they're bananas. And so we're going back and this year and seeing if we can tolerate it with the kids. It's gonna be tough.
Okay.
4 days is a lot.
that is a lot. All right, last one here, man. So a gathering consisting of a minimum of 4 of us from we'll call it the Lafayette High School boys that all grew up together on the West Side. A gathering at some point this summer that consists of a minimum of 4 of us somewhere for whatever it may be. Last year happened because of the adoption party you had. So you kind of facilitated that. There were 4 of us last year. There was Ryan, there was
a ton of us.
Fogues, Scully. So yeah, we got to 4.
We were well over 4.
Well, if you don't count us.
Maybe.
We'll count us. But anyway, even if we're 2 of them, minimum of 4 people a gathering of us at some point this summer. What are the betting odds for that? Bonus bet, Scully's one of the 4.
Well, I think that's where it would happen. I think it would be me, you, and Scully. I got a feeling. All right. Now I don't have any inside information. I absolutely do have inside information. I got a feeling. All right, we're gonna start seeing the big man a little bit more. All right, if you go out there and you try to strike up a dinner or something like that, whatever, someone's in town, who knows. I think we're gonna be getting yeses.
Really?
More than we're accustomed
strong
to.
Yeses or throwaway yeses that end up being
yeses
that
can be gone back on at any time. Yeses that can be gone back on at any time. I got it. So I'm gonna put him in that mix. All right. For that reason, I'm gonna put him in that mix, and that's gonna be 3 of us right there. And the likelihood of finding our way, all right, to a 4th person in the mix seems fair enough to where
it's not a lock.
It's
because you might get one of them and then Scully ends up not going. So now you're down.
I'm going
to
to put it to you
people.
like this. I'm going to put it to you like this.
All right.
If you were to give me that bet at even money, I'm pounding. All right.
You're pounding that it'll happen.
Yes. Yeah.
All
right.
So I don't know, man. I'd flip a coin.
Give it to you that way.
All right. Any prop bets that you could think of that like maybe we should have covered that we didn't? Thought this was for doing it, especially for the first time. We didn't even kind of go over any of this. I just threw some shit at you and you responded with some numbers. But I feel like we covered, for being the first time doing this, a good amount of shit here. Something different, by the way. A Thursday episode, instead of just a straight hour of nonstop Bills or Sabres talk, which we kind of worked in plenty of Bills and Sabres talk, but just in in a different kind of format. I actually like doing this.
No, it was cool. But basically, we kind of punted tonight. Didn't Baker have one tonight and shit?
This wasn't a punt.
No, I'm just kidding.
We have
hold on.
We have punted some shows.
I have to mention this though. This cracked me up. Did you see that I had a Twitter poll that ended with 1 vote?
No, I didn't. Did you really?
Oh, I did. Come on. I even posted it on Facebook with the screenshot that said the people have spoken.
You put a Twitter poll up and I got one vote?
One vote.
One vote total.
And it's not even mine. Like you're not. I don't think you can vote on your Twitter poll.
No, I don't think. I don't think you can.
You didn't see it then.
So only 1 out of the 58 eligible voters. Struggle.
You don't know what it is. You don't remember what it was or nothing. Huh?
No, I didn't even think I saw it. I would have voted. What was it?
Who was the better dancer, Tom Jones or MC Hammer?
Ooh.
See what I'm saying? That got people thinking so much they fucking fell into that such a deep thought they forgot.
I would go with MC Hammer, but it is not that open and shut, man. Not at all.
I watched 5 Tom Jones YouTube fucking clips today. Well, I was just in the mood. I needed to be uplifted a little bit. I had a rough start to the morning. I stumbled into Tom Jones YouTube clips and was like, that's my man right there. But no, I mean, it went the whole 24 hours and got 1 vote.
I can't think of a better way to end this show than that. Next time, Tell Pucks puts up a poll. Please vote. We'll get to 2 or 3 next time. Anyway, we'll be back. Well, maybe next week. I'll be back next week. I don't know if you're going to be back next week.
See y'all in a month.
All right, guys. I'll be back actually from Imperial Pizza with Sarah Holland from WIBB TV Channel 4. It was a really fun conversation with her. I'll have that for you tomorrow.